Hey, looky there. We made it to episode 2 here at Misconnections. My name is Chas Thunderwolf Stevens, and I'm your host. Now, last episode, we talked more about what goes on the outside of our bodies in our fashion episode, Appearance. In today's episode, we're going to focus more of what goes on the inside of our body. As we talk about visual arts and audio arts, I think oftentimes culinary arts is left out of the conversation. So today, we're going to talk to 2 culinary artists. First is Casey Tarochine, one of the amazing chefs at Tulsa's hottest hangout, Tina's. And our second guest is not a native to Tulsa, but is quickly adapted to the amazing lifestyle he can create here. It's Chef Chad Cherry, co-founder of Kulture Cooking, where we put more emphasis on what goes in our bodies and how it affects our communities. This is Misconnections, brought to you by Create Tulsa and the Tulsa Performing Arts Center, and I'm Chas Thunderwolf Stevens.
There's a lot to see, Tulsa, Tulsa, full of beauty. Let's stick together, no more misconnections.
Hi, my name is Chas Stevens. This is Misconnections, our second episode here, live from the Racks, Tulsa. Today is our culinary episode, Let's Eat, and we have 2 amazing guests. First, we have Casey Tarochine, who is a line chef at Tina's restaurant in the heart of downtown Tulsa. And second, we have Chef Chad Cherry, a chef who works on food nutrition and community building. All right, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all. You have a busy schedule. Just kind of want to ask y'all some questions about the culinary world and see what your opinions are, if that's cool with y'all.
Let's get it.
Yeah. Well, my first question is kind of like a simple one, but I just want to know, is Gordon Ramsay overrated?
Come on, fam.
I don't think he's overrated. Obviously it's played out to be dramatic and like a series that like they initiate drama for the views.
Mm-hmm.
But like I really like his show. I can't remember it now, but like he worked with children and it was like very warm-hearted and like genuine.
Junior,
I felt like it showed like the genuine side to him, and he can cook, so I don't think.
Oh, you got to watch him on like the BBC, right? Like Gordon Ramsay has this one show in his crib, and first of all, he has like a second kitchen in his house, which is stupid. I need that. On the American shows, like he does a little too much. He's out there too much. But as a chef, I understood it, and I really got it from when he was doing the kitchen makeovers, and it was just his passion. Because like, yo, for real, like this is our craft, and he just wanted people to respect it. But he do a little too much sometimes, but he's dope.
Do you all feel as if like celebrity chefs might sell out to like, your general chefs or anything like, your running the mall, mom and pop type chefs or anything like that?
When you mean sell out, what you mean? Just
like, I think in the sense of like people look at comedians or look at rappers, and if they sign to a label or if they get big money to sponsor them, they're a sellout. They're no longer part of like the art form itself. Is that similar in the culinary world, or in the culinary world, is it more like we want to celebrate people getting these big platforms?
I want to celebrate them personally. I mean,
Yeah.
Give me some of them zeros, bro. What you want me to do, fam? You want me to? I'll hold the knife this way or that way. Like I don't care, bro. Like, come on. I mean, truthfully, like culinary people, we're sort of like misfits anyway. So it's not as much of a cliquish because we really accept people from all over. Our bar is at the end of the day. Can you get busy in the kitchen? Can you make it through a Friday night? What's good? Like that's my bar at least.
Nice.
I mean, I think it's cool that a lot of chefs are going and getting their own platforms like online and like creating their own like recipe books where you pay like a monthly kind of like a Patreon situation. Like
pretty neat.
I like seeing that because I don't know, it's just motivating to like create more recipes and stuff like that. So I feel like everyone benefits from a chef getting kind of in a sellout position where they're like, I don't know, creating more.
And that kind of brings me to the next question of like, I'm always curious about the path of a chef, right? Because I remember being a kid and you watch TV and it's like, come to our culinary school and like this, like that. And it's kind of interesting to me. But I'm always curious, like, for you all individually, you all are in different fields of being a chef. Like you do more private, you work in a restaurant. I'm curious to know, like, is there a way of like when you become a chef or like when you start learning to cook, which path is kind of the one you want to take? Or is it kind of like you just kind of fall into it and you kind of fit in where you get in?
I mean, I had to make a living out of doing it. So I really just started in like corporate kitchens, and I do feel like you get in where you fit in.
Mm.
And if you work hard, you'll make it to the top of wherever you're at. And I think a lot of like everyone chooses their own path, like whether you want to go and do your own thing or if you just want to stay.
Yeah.
And this industry now is not what it was just even 10 years ago.
Okay.
Like there's so many more options. Like matter of fact, like you really don't legit even have to go to culinary school anymore.
Mm.
What you have to do, like chef is a lifestyle. I mean, do you go to school and polish? Yes. Do you go work in a restaurant? Yes, to get your skills up. But there are so many ways to approach it. It's really not one way anymore, but it's about quality and consistency. And so that's the harder part of this. But no, you really got to choose your own adventure, because the other thing is this isn't something you can like have fake passion and do.
Okay.
Like if you're not built for this, you're going to be done. Like you'll get 1 or 2 good gigs in, you go work somewhere for a month or so, you'll burn out. You have so in saying that, it's really kind of choose what resonates with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that being a chef is kind of like being an RPG. That's pretty cool. I think
I like that. I never thought about that.
You know, I think when we talk about these paths and, you know, people cook and, you know, I've always been good at making fried eggs. Like I'm a fried egg maker. I promise I can make omelets too. Anything egg based I can do really well. I do wonder though, what is the difference between a chef and me in an air fryer?
I mean, like you said, getting through Friday service, you know, not losing your cool and staying organized and consistent and being like committed to a quality product, you know.
And the chef is gonna look at a recipe or product differently. So if you say you want a fried egg, well, what are you eating it with? Right? Because what you're eating it with depends on how, one, we're gonna cook the egg, 2, what kind of egg we're gonna cook, right?
Okay.
What flavors are we pairing with it? Like, I mean, literally, there are multiple ways to cook a fried egg, even though you're like, oh, you just drop it and fry it. No, like there's several ways to do this. So chefs are going to think about a dish deeper. Like I've told someone, you call me for a proposal, you're like, why does it take you so long to put out a proposal? Because I'm not just thinking about putting one dish. I'm thinking about how the whole thing works together, how it pairs together. So I think that goes along with what you're saying. Is we think very deeply about food. We probably shouldn't, but
yeah, like when it comes to cooking, is it kind of like me, for example, as a comedian? I like to tell jokes on stage. I like to be funny, even in conversations. But like, I don't like to be funny on demand. Do you ever feel like people kind of request you all to cook, like family members do? Is that a thing? Like, Casey's coming to Thanksgiving, she better make this today. You know, like, is that a thing chefs expect, like family members expect or friends expect?
Not from my experience. Like,
Really?
I feel like I've never felt forced. Like, I would just naturally, like, if I'm going to an event or if I'm like meeting up with someone, like, and I want to do that, I've never had like.
Nah, man, your family nice. My family, listen, I could fly in to New York and someone's like, yo, Chaz here, all right, what's he cooking? And I'm like, dude, I literally just got off the plane. Like, there is an expectation when I pull up. Like, I'm supposed to have food in the trunk. Like, if you pop it, there should be a plate back there. No.
Got to be a mobile chef. You got to get exhibit to pimp your ride to do it, you know?
I mean, that's an idea.
Food car. What's the next thing, too, is like, with being a chef, like, what resources do you feel like chefs need? And what resources, like, do you feel like are really hard, like, for someone trying to start out? Like, do all chefs need a brick and mortar, you know? Or
nah.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And brick and mortars are hard.
Yeah.
Unless you come from
Yeah.
income, you know, you have a lot of money. A lot of people love, like, the whole idea of unlimited menu, popping up in a space, something that you can't get all the time. And there's like I don't know the word for it. Like
it's kind of fun. It's like a novel. Yeah.
Novel. Yeah.
Is it kind of like, for example, one of my favorite is the et al pop-ups with like the what is it? The buns, the steamed buns. Like, I really enjoy that. And then the other thing I really enjoy lately as far as like food in Tulsa, and I don't know if it's like the safest bet, but I always enjoy it, is people who make plates at home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
like,
that's the thing. And it's plenty safe. That's what I was going to say. What chefs need is they need back-end support, what I found, right? Like, I haven't met too many chefs that need help cooking,
okay.
right? Like, you could physically need help because it's tiring. And I almost cuss because it really is tiring.
Yeah.
But the back-end support, like the accounting, the administration, the HR, right? Because we don't do handshakes and high fives, bro. You need infrastructure, especially if you're a business, because at some point, if you're an independent, you're going to want to scale, and you're not prepared for that. Like, the growth kills. And in this business where you have something that takes time, like shopping, prep, assembly, delivery, or getting it out, there's a time component that can't be skipped and is really hard to shorten. So then when you add the demands of the actual business on top of that, you find yourself in a situation where things fall through the cracks. So if you ask most independent chefs, let me see your books, let me see your P&L, they don't have that.
Wow. Never heard of a P&L.
Like, and the thing is, you could go from, as an independent chef, you could be doing 50 grand this year, and next year you did 125. And now people are looking at you for taxes, and you don't really have a good answer for the taxes because you never paid attention to it. You was just fulfilling the business.
Gotcha.
So what chefs need is the infrastructure, the back support for the independents. Now, restaurant life, that's a different answer.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you ever feel as if, like, as a restaurant chef, like, are there things that limit you as far as, like, being creative with menus or being creative with the dishes you can make or anything like that?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess this is a cool question I want to ask, kind of like a regional question, you know, for our viewers. Chef Cherry is actually from New York. So I don't know how his answer will be. I don't want to upset anyone. We're not choosing favorites here. But I do want to know, what dishes do you all think are like Tulsa staples? Or since you've been here, Chad, what staples have people introduced to you? Casey, someone who's from here, what staples would you suggest to someone? My personal is Coney Islander.
Oh, that was mine.
Was it? Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm like,
That
this
was
is tough
mine.
here.
Something I grew up with. My dad loved taking me there.
What is Coney Islander? Like,
I moved away for a very short amount of time. And when I came back to Tulsa, that was the first place
Yes,
I went to. Yeah.
It's our hot dogs. So like Coney's, like you ever been to like Detroit? Like same
yeah,
bit,
it's like Chicago style hot dog?
No.
Okay.
Like Chicago has like the pepper and like
and the pickle and everything.
Ours is like a regular hot dog, and then usually you put like chili, cheese, onions, and like paprika. But they're like small, like little things, and like, you know, usually people get like 2 to 3. Some people eat 5 of them. Like, so yeah, you have to go around Tulsa. Like they've been around since
Where
1926.
at? What's the spot for that?
11th.
That's the best one. I think the 11th one is really good, and the one on Brookside is like really good. But
And they have like the sport peppers and vinegar.
Yeah.
You said
So you put like that liquid on the coney.
Right
You
across
said
the street from
11th,
TU.
11th, right across from TU.
Right across. Like I mean, it's literally right across the street from TU on 11th Street. Like right on this side of the construction.
Cool, because see, I got to ask these questions because I haven't found Tulsa identity in food yet. I've actually been looking for it, and I'm like, I've been looking for flavor in Tulsa. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like, yo, where my Haitian food, where my Jamaican food, like something Caribbean. We just found a Cuban spot.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And it was okay. My daughter found it on DoorDash. You can find everything on DoorDash.
Yeah.
Not shouting them out. But I'm looking. I really have been looking. Like, someone originally told me that you guys do like chicken fried steak really well, and I wasn't impressed. So I'm trying to find the thing that we do.
Yeah, I would say as like a Tulsan, I think fried foods are definitely, because we're in the South, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Tulsa's more like Midwest, Tulsa, Southern vibes. But I think like definitely fried foods for sure, like red meats, like burgers, your steaks. Like steakhouses are big because we have a big cattle industry here.
The beef is good. I will give you that.
Yeah,
the beef
and I was going to say, as far as like flavor-wise, if you want to like, you know, broaden past Americana, like Tulsa has expanded a lot, especially in the last 10 years, where like now we have more culturally like specific areas, right? Like, for example, if you go to East Tulsa, it's the Global District. North Tulsa has the Phoenix. It's like different regions have its own, like, or different sides of town. And it's generally located where like those populations of communities live. So if you go to East Tulsa, it's our more like Hispanic and Asian communities. So that's why you have like Nam High and all those restaurants and the grocery stores, their restaurants, the little mall they have. So I would definitely say, as like far as like expanding the boundaries of where you are usually in Tulsa, and that would be a good thing.
I found it with the independent chefs.
Okay.
There's a bunch of people I've been able to get little things with, and I'm just looking for more of like the restaurant staples. And I think maybe there's a lot of newer places that popping up. But
like there's a.
And I'm trying. Listen. I'll eat everywhere, so I'll try all kinds of things.
There's a place I went to the other day off of 3rd Street in Lewis, I think, and it's like a little. It kind of looks like a little food court, and it's 3 different restaurants. But they're all like South American restaurants. So like one of them is I think there's like a Peruvian spot. and they make like the best arepas. Like, I mean, those were great. So yeah, I think it's just about like understanding the difference. And I think one thing in Tulsa is I think sometimes we get stuck in our bubbles of where we live.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
And
yeah.
Casey, for someone who's
and
like,
it's funny because it's not a big city. I'm sorry.
yeah,
but it does happen.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, like, Casey, as far as like where you have lived in Tulsa or where you live in Tulsa, do you feel as if like the area you live in has enough like diversity in it as far as like the food or anything like that?
I live like South Boston area.
Okay.
There's not a ton, like, Cherry Street, I wouldn't say is diverse.
Yeah.
But I do find myself in East Tulsa a lot, like Nam High and Idiot, Phony, like inside the grocery store, like super good.
Yeah.
And then El Rio Verde.
Oh, Rio Verde. I haven't been
It's
to
like,
that one. That
you
Green
have
River?
to go. The wet burrito.
Okay.
Let's go.
Super
Let's go.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing too is like our demographics have changed culturally. We have a lot more people from different backgrounds that are bringing their new foods, And like you said, like I think there's not like the only Jamaican restaurant or like Caribbean restaurant I've ever really known of before the one downtown they have was like in Oklahoma City. The one downtown is it's not Curico's. I'm blanking on what it's called now, but it's Cicero's. Yeah, Cicero's. That's what it's called. And yeah, Cicero's, I think, was like the first kind of like splash of a new flavor in downtown Tulsa, with the exception of like, and then we got Lone Wolf is really good to me.
Que Gusto.
Yeah, Que Gusto.
Listen,
It's
Yuca
always
fries?
top quality,
Come on,
great
man.
ingredients.
Yeah, Que Gusto.
They
is
run
good.
great
My
specials.
Hop by, run through, grab. You know what? Yes. Que Gusto, I stopped there.
Yeah.
Very, very frequently. I got the loyalty card. I be getting punches. Sorry, I'm not bad. I got.
No, you're all right. No, you're good. Let's get to our next question. I like these. These are fun. I want to know, like, as rappers and producers, their thing is they crate dig. Like so they'll go to like stores and go through albums and stuff. I want to know, are there grocery stores in Tulsa that chefs kind of have a favorite of that, like, might be a gem, or any farms or any like little stores or anything like that that isn't a Walmart or Reese's or a Target?
Supermercado. What's the name of
Morello's.
Yeah,
Morello's,
Supermercado Morello. Pan Asia.
Pan Asia is what I was
Pan
going
Asia
to
is the
say.
truth.
My
Yo.
students
Their
love Pan
seafood
Asia.
section, crazy.
Hold up. And it's some of the vegan stuff they have over there and the
Oh,
mushrooms.
really? Yeah.
Wow, I like watching artists talk about what they talk about. And that's what I was going to ask. Like, do you all feel like Culinary doesn't get the same respects in the art world as far as like music or literature? Because I think yours is a blend of a lot of things between art of the decoration of the plate and also like the chemistry that goes into cooking.
We don't, but like we definitely the new rock stars though. What do you think? Like I think Culinary is
so
having a
too,
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone loves to like have their favorite chef
Mhm.
or, make a new recipe. It's really cool to learn how to cook. And so
It is.
I think it's having a come up. Like
Yeah.
being a chef is cool.
It really is though.
Yeah.
It really is.
And do y'all feel like social media has influenced more people, like especially after the pandemic, when everybody had to cook for themselves essentially? If you didn't
Everybody was
DoorDash?
making bread.
Yeah, everybody's making their own pasta. Yeah, I tried to make fry bread and I bombed out. I watched so many videos of aunties online trying to learn how to make fry bread, and I gave up after my 5th attempt. So I'm curious to know, like, how has social media like played a way into like maybe how you cook, or maybe how people respond to like you as a chef, right? They're like, oh man, you using parsley or something? I'm just curious, like, do people ever muddle those worlds together?
I would say that like I'm a pretty introverted person, and having like the opportunity to go on Instagram and go on my stories and like share what I'm cooking that day is definitely let people know what kind of cook I am. And I don't think that I would have had that kind of opportunity.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the highs, right? Like
Because you don't want to like brag on yourself,
I mean,
all the time.
Not
But
all
that's
the
like an easy
you
way to
should,
just be
yeah.
like,
it's like that moment when you call your friend, like, guess what I'm eating today?
right.
Social media does give you so your friend doesn't get mad at you and ask for food every day. You can just kind of post it, and if they see it, great. But no, that is one of the highs, and I think that it has allowed us to see what's possible. Like menu planning now, you're jumping online and you're like, yo, let me see what someone else did with this dish. And it's allowing you to just elevate differently. Now, on the flip side, customer standpoint, social media has raised some expectations. And you'd be like, that is a real thing, but that also comes with real dollars. So if you want that, we can do it.
Yeah.
Everything is doable.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I think one of the downsides is the expectations. But from a standpoint of like what is possible culinary wise, crazy.
So, do you all have like the thing that got me into culinary? And I don't cook, but I think culinary art that really impressed me the most was Chef's Table. And there's an episode on Chef's Table. I forget the restaurant. It's in Chicago. I think it's closed down now. But the guy, the way he cooked food in the episode, and sorry to spoil this for our viewers and you all as well. But in the episode, one of the things he did, he has a little piece of like wood on this table. And so the table's eating dinner and they set the wood on fire. And the captain, which is such a cool term to me, the captain comes by and he brings like little plates of little foods, and you take the food and you put on a little shish kebab and you cook it over the fire. Then after you eat the little snack, the chef or the captain comes by, clears out the wood, and inside of the wood, there was a piece of chicken the whole time cooking. And you would have never known. So I'm curious to know, like, are there things that you as a chef have wanted to try artistically that you're like, oh, this is an idea I've had, or like something that you've like saw online that you thought was cool?
Absolutely. I did like 6 years at the tavern or so, and we had a chef table there. And I got a lot of inspiration just from other chefs that I'd follow on Instagram. And I didn't go to culinary school. I don't have any professional experience, but I had the passion. And would see dishes and would just replicate them through that chef's table and developing menus. And that was just, it was cool to like just wing it. Like, you know, people aren't posting their recipes, but you would just see flavors together, certain techniques, and go for it.
I think that's more of the vibe right there. Like you'll see something and be like, yo, how did they do that? And you're trying to figure it out, and you're looking at a picture, or you watch them and you're like, yo, I gotta try that. And then it's for us though, like I don't know about a lot of other chefs, but I know some do it. Like there's almost like a mental Rolodex of flavors. So even if you haven't seen how someone did something, when you see something cool, your mind is like, well, there must be this, and that. So you start kind of almost breaking out a recipe in your head, and you're like, okay, I'm going back and trying. So yeah, a ton of things. It happens all the time. So,
and it's just cool to like gather some things, but then add your own twist to it. You're like, well, you know, actually broccoli would be a little bit better than like the cabbage or whatever it is. So
the creative license. It's funny you say that, because my wife and I argue about this, because I'm a big fan of, if I eat something, I don't care where it's from. If I like it, I'm going to make it.
Okay.
But then I'm going to change it. And she's like, no, it was right the first time. And I'm like, I'm a chef. I have creative license. I change everything. That's what I do. And yeah, it's a big argument. But yes, changing things.
Next thing I want to know is, like, when it comes to cooking, how important are measurements to you all?
We're chefs, not pastry chefs.
I would agree.
Yeah,
I'm doing a special next week with Tina's a meatball sub, and I can make a great meatball sub, but as far as like writing down how many grams of everything that's in it, like it's a headache for me to you know, measure those things out. But it's important for, you know, if you ever want to develop your own cookbook, you know, if you want to tell someone else how to cook it, it's necessary to measure. But truly, I measure from my heart.
For real.
You know?
I love that.
Like the best you might get is different size scoops.
Okay.
Like I can this scoop right here, that's the size. Use that scoop. That's about like, it's tool measurement or something. It's cursory.
Okay.
But it's not going to be exact. We just don't have time for that. But also too, a lot is about, like, when you see someone, like say someone's chef's hand is different, right? Like it's about your feeling that day. Like how are you in the moment? Like even with seasoning and stuff, like I can try to explain to you, but best I can do is say, hey, here is the theory of how I treat food. And you interpret that. The exact measurements every day.
So, like, I have the palate of a dog. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Like, I grew up eating chitlins and calf fries. Like, I'm just a real country man at heart.
Hey.
Is there a way for a man of the common nature like myself to elevate my palate so I can finally taste what unami is? Because to me, it's just the same. Like, everything.
Well, from what you described, like, did you ever have like a fresh sliced tomato with salt on it in the summertime?
Yeah, like my dad, I don't know, my family, we're a big fruit family. And for some reason, my father and I will eat tomatoes like apples. Like I've loved tomatoes, you know?
Well, they have like naturally occurring MSG in them, which is like umami. Like tomatoes have a ton of umami. So you already know what umami is.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I think you're
life-changing.
You're probably underestimating your palate.
Okay.
Right? It's I always talk to people about like just trying more things, but then trying them individually and waiting. It's like if you get a good bottle of wine, you don't gulp it.
Okay.
So if you want to develop your palate, it takes a little bit of patience and just try like individual, like even if your dish is kind of mixed up, taste a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like, and just let it sit and then choose your own adventure on a plate. But that way you can kind of see what flavors are working in that dish.
Okay.
Yeah. And give yourself some credit. You might be all right with it.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it. That makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah. And after knowing what I do know about food, it's all come down to like simple is best.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Yes.
Smaller the amount of ingredients. Do it right. Yeah.
I go heavy on the law recently. Not gonna lie to y'all.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm actually more of a slap your mama fan, honestly. That's my favorite seasoning.
That little spice in the slap your mama.
Man, it's the best. I put it on almost everything.
Montreal steak seasoning.
Ooh,
gotta shout them out.
Okay, you know, I guess I do have a nice little seasoning cabinet. I didn't really think about it. I got a friend, he keeps his on the little rotator.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he just spins around. I'm not that good, but yeah, I know where my paprika is, you know. My mom is from Chicago, so in the summer times, that's where I used to spend all my summers in Chicago growing up as a kid. And one of my favorite things was the taste of Chicago. And you get to try all the different restaurants and people from all around the world who bring food. That was the first time I think I ever had gator bites.
Gator's good.
I'm curious, are you all excited about like the growing food culture, like Big Bite, for example, in Tulsa? Like, is that an exciting thing for chefs? Is that like the chef Super Bowl in Tulsa? Everyone's like, we get to be on these platforms and have these little, or even like the Chili Bowl. Are these kind of like food platforms? Yeah. Like, is these like these little platforms, are these like really big for chefs to be like, let me stunt my stuff?
Can be. If I'm the participating chef, like I have fun. I've done food festivals everywhere, so like I have fun with it now. But there's a lot of times when it was just stressful. Like everybody's enjoying the food and you're in the back. Like, I hate you, leave. Please stop coming to this booth. Like, you know. But but it's if you have fun with it, it can be great. And I mean, I think it's more fun to be just to be out there enjoying the food than to be actually making. But, hey.
Casey, are you a big fan of these food platforms as well, or?
I didn't get a chance to get out to Big Bite, but they did highlight a lot of really good local chefs. They did a good selection on that, and like I know that like I wish I would have gone. I was busy working, but I wish I would have been there. I'm gonna try to make it next year for sure.
I think to build on that, like that. Yes, highlighting the chefs, but I think we need just more ways. Like you spoke about Mother Road earlier, right? Like there's so many amazing flavors that just never get out there because the opportunities are super limited, especially here in Tulsa. Like in other cities, almost twice a month, there's going to be somewhere where you can go and just taste multiple things. So I think that's part of what we could do better here and grow.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to New York in October, and as we were heading to the airport, there was this huge festival, and I like looked it up. I was like, what is this? It's a dumpling festival. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, cancel the flight.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was
we could be late.
So far down the street, just so many different vendors.
Oh, man.
And so I think something like that could be really cool that, like a night market situation would be really, really cool where you don't necessarily have to be a part of a brick and mortar to like have an opportunity to share your craft.
Tell them, Casey.
Do you all think that like to have that, for example, like you all are that's a big city, like comparatively like in New York to Tulsa, right? Do you all think that the consumers of Tulsa are ready for something that cool?
Oh yeah, Tulsa ready, bro.
Okay.
Look, Tulsa is a big city, even though it's in a little geographic area. Tulsa is. And I'm talking about coming from big cities, and I'm still newish here. Tulsa is ready. It's sophisticated enough. The people are cool enough. You can go to some places, like, I know you said this is the South. Yes and no. Like, I've been to some place in the South where if I was bringing out something that was not fried, they're looking at me crazy.
Right.
Tulsa is sophisticated. I personally, I think Tulsa's ready for it.
Okay.
I think so, too.
Yeah. I've always been curious because, like, I think our food, our knowledge of food, or like our expectation of restaurants has been awesome. I think part of that might just be how we talked about it earlier with like I think the pandemic changed how people saw food. And I think since then, I think people are like, more into it, especially like the cooking of it. I do want to know though, like, and this is part more to Mr. Cherry, when it comes to cooking, you put a lot of emphasis on like the community and the health building of it. I am curious to know, and like same thing with like you all with Tina's, because I know that's one of the mission statements as far as community goes.
Love
Do
Yeah,
you all
third
ever
place.
feel as if like there is any type of like I don't know how to say, like in a gatekeeping way, or like maybe some restaurants might be too exclusive, or is that like kind of dying out as far as like, oh, you have to know someone to get a table here, or is that more of like a big city thing? Like, do you think Tulsa is pretty good about communities and restaurants?
Hmm.
That was a multi-layered question.
Yeah,
I'm
right?
sorry.
Like-
My bad.
Yeah, I don't think that any restaurant here in Tulsa gives off a vibe of like,
Too pristine.
yeah, too prestige. But I do like the idea of people, like you were talking about, opening up a coffee shop, like a third place mentality, like with what Tina's has, is really important, especially
Yeah.
these days, to just have somewhere to just relax and not have to feel stuffy, or it's just casual, but good products. But
Yeah, and there's still, I mean, we don't have Michelin star here. We kind of did, and the thing is, that kind of restaurant, that style is more dead, right? Like, it's not, that business model is not what it was,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So if you were in culinary and you don't have an aspect of community, especially if you have any kind of brick and mortar, you're a sinking ship.
mhm.
Like you gotta lock in with your people, because food builds community. This is when they talk about third place, like there's literally something called the Starbucks effects, right? Like it's about where people go when they're not at home and not at work.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
And that is why neighborhood gets anchored. When someone moves somewhere, they're asking about the schools and they're asking about the vibes. And the vibes
Right.
definitely include food and music,
Yeah.
right? Like it's a thing. So you gotta have this. So exclusivity does not serve you anymore. So I think that's why it's been dying out. I've heard of some place in Tulsa that's like you supposed to know somebody, but I'm like, food probably sucks anyway. So not going.
Yeah.
I want to ask this too, like as far as like the restaurant aspect of it, like Chef Cherry, did you ever work in a restaurant as well? Like,
Restaurant manager. I've owned restaurants. Yeah, I've been.
and I know that's a really hard business to crack into.
Mhm.
I think like, what is it, like the first 5 years or the first 3 years or
First
something?
5, bro. Look, you don't turn a profit for 5. Most restaurants die in 1 to 2. Right? Like if you do a budget to open a restaurant, I tell someone right now, if you don't have $500K, don't start. And that's with a restaurant that you're rehabbing that had closed recently, that you don't have to do major construction to. And that 500 doesn't include operating costs.
Right.
That's literally bare bones. If you don't have that liquid, don't do it.
Do you feel as if like that's a goal for a lot of chefs, is to open brick and mortars, or have chefs kind of moved on to like, I want to move into a more creative space with my cooking, or do they want to get more into like the monetization, like we talked about, like cookbooks and stuff like that?
So this is a personal question, because I just had a good friend of mine pass away last year. Chef Max Hardy out of Detroit. He had opened his 3rd restaurant. From all intents and purposes, he was doing really, really well. And the man literally left his restaurant one day and fell out and died.
Wow.
Right. And most chefs still feel that the only model for success is to have a restaurant. And that's unfortunate, because success should look different for everybody. Your success should be a personal definition. It shouldn't be what an expectation placed on you. And more importantly, as a chef, that plate should not be your identity. You are more than what you can put on a plate. But that's not communicated to people enough. Like with Chef Culture, that's one of the things we're talking about. We're like, yo, you're more than your food, right? So owning a restaurant is not a make or break thing. You could be an amazing chef and never own a restaurant. And it's just talking to people more about the means of success. Now, for some people, that is their dream, and that works. But it's about having the options and being different and showing that you can be successful, especially in this industry, with multiple achievements. You could be a chef that literally just focuses on the health of their community. Like, yo, I want to make sure there's healthy food in the schools. There's healthy food for my seniors. That could be success.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to be well known, but who cares?
Yeah.
So so I think we've got to change the narratives about what it means, or what being a chef actually looks like, and what success actually is. I think we've got to really change that narrative.
Yeah. And Casey, this is kind of a question for you, as far as like we talked about the community building and that success level. like Tina's has like really blown up in like the last year or so, like since it's open. And I know I saw like lately in the last interview I did in the luxury magazine was like you all weren't expecting to have this many people. What's like the bigger like success as far as restaurant goes? Is it like having that community space, or is it like do restaurants have to care about a profit? Or is that more of like that might be like a business question more than a chef question?
Yeah, like I am interested to learn more about the business side of things, but I would say like prioritizing how the community feels in the space, and like, I don't know, it's a very welcoming environment.
Yeah.
And I think that translates to the success of Tina's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, people talk really well about Tina's, and that's how you know that y'all did a great job with the community.
Yeah. And the Luxier article also highlighted the window and how people can approach us. I mean, we're right there. We're busy working through burgers, and just, hearing all the positive things that people have to say is just really, really cool. Because I've worked, 15 years in kitchens where I was behind some walls back there, and you never really got to hear, what you were doing. And it was a really good idea to have like that open window space. Like, in the beginning, I wasn't so sure because you're busy.
Open concept, like, I don't want people to see the magic. They don't even know.
It's like Waffle House to IHOP, Like, I'm a Waffle House man, not because I love the shenanigans of a Waffle House, but I do enjoy kind of like you're in the kitchen doing the whole. I mean, that's any diner in general.
Yeah.
But like you're in the kitchen watching people like put this together, have a job doing it, and they're like, especially chefs, I think are really enthusiastic, like any other artist, about their medium. And for you all to be the best chefs, you have to have the right equipment. So I want to know, my personal favorite, my wok is my favorite thing to cook with. I'll cook anything in my wok. Now, I will tell you, in full disclaimer, my father bought my wok from Target, so it's not like a real deal one, but we're having a great time, and I love that bad boy. So I'm curious to know, what's like your favorite cooking utensil that you do have?
Cast iron.
Cast
iron. Definitely.
I'm stealing his, man. The wok is undefeated, bro. Like,
you can do everything in it.
Frying, sauteing, braising. Cast iron too. They're just, I mean, you might throw your back out when you lift it up, but you be okay though.
Yeah. Casey's actually a power lifter. Casey's stronger than all of us. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Casey can lift this whole building. Casey's strong as can be.
Love it.
When it comes to cast iron, I did not know the rules about cast iron.
Oh, did you wash somebody's cast iron?
I did my own.
Oh. Okay.
No. I have learned.
Well, you can wash your own. You just can't wash somebody else's.
Yeah, no. I'm learning how, I'm paying attention. I'm trying to understand, like, seasoning and all that stuff. Like, I seasoned my wok before I used it. Like, I'm cultured to a degree. But I am curious to know, like, what are some pet peeves you all have as chefs that us regular civilians just do?
What's your favorite thing to cook? Yeah.
Dull knives.
Knives.
Dull.
It's a good one.
Yeah. You will fight.
Wow.
Also, if someone steals your towel, it's a big deal.
Wow.
Don't steal my towel.
A towel?
Yeah. You have your towels like at your station.
Yeah. My bad. I forgot I'm not in your
Because you set up your station. You're ready to go, and you look and you go to work and you're like, where's my towel?
Yeah. Okay. So when you all work as chefs, like, do you all mostly supply your own? Like, you bring your stuff, like like, do you have your own little set of knives you take places? Like, I know it's different being in a restaurant versus private.
No, still, like, yes, and yes. Like, even when we were in the restaurant, like, if you work anywhere for a certain amount of time, the tools that are provided are great, but you end up with like little tips and tricks. I've seen people with like all kinds of like power tools doing things. Like, chefs are wild. So I think everybody has their little stuff. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I'm in a pretty simple kitchen these days, but we keep our stuff really sharp. Like, we even break this whetstone out, and we sharpen our spatulas that we use to scrape the burgers.
That makes sense.
I mean, if you have to get the good crust, you have to have it pretty much stuck to the flat top and scrape it off. So we learned recently that if we sharpen our spatulas weekly,
I
love that.
So don't mess with us. We can literally cut you.
I might have to start sharpening my spatula. I love that.
The hash slinging slasher from SpongeBob. I know I'm like a kid, so I know that's probably not universal as far as everyone knowing it. But that makes me kind of embarrassed because we have plastic spatulas in my house. Like, we got like one metal one, and we don't use it very. Like, we use it for burgers, but like, Everything else, pancakes, just get the spatulas, little plastic one. So,
and your tip hasn't like melted yet or anything?
No, I definitely do. We just pull off the plastic, get a little seasoning to it.
Oh my
Add
goodness.
some garlic on the end of it. Yeah, no, we try to.
That wasn't parsley.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a better cook. I really am. Like that's one of the reasons I definitely wanted to have a culinary episode.
And you know there are different kinds of spatulas, right?
There's the flat one, and then there's the flat one with holes in it. Yep,
we'll go with that.
Yeah.
That's it. We'll let you rock.
Yeah, I'm a very simple man. You know, I think you can eat steak with a butter knife. You know, this depends on how much arm power you put into it. So. I want to know, like, as far as you guys go, because we're going to kind of wrap up here pretty soon, maybe about 1 or 2 more questions.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, like, since you're new to Tulsa, you know, this is like your first year, and you being a native, I want to know, like, what is a restaurant that you feel as if people don't go to enough? Like, what's your secret gem restaurant? Mine, I don't know if mine's a hidden gem. I think a lot of people go to it because it's been around for a while, but it's my favorite probably. I'd say my favorite hidden gem is Lisu's Thai Kitchen. In Mall 31. Like that's probably my favorite little hidden gem. Like they just opened up maybe about a year and a half ago. And man, you go
Lisu's Thai?
Lisu's Thai. Yeah. They have a fish curry that I get whole chunks of salmon.
I'm going, bro. See, I'm Mandarin taste.
I love Mandarin taste.
Really like Mandarin taste.
My favorite Chinese spot is Golden Gate. Yeah. Casey, I'm sorry. We
I'm
started.
taking notes.
Oh, it's okay.
I got like 5 new spots to eat at.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like a hidden gem, but as far as the restaurant that I think about the most recently is Juan Korean Barbecue and Grill.
Oh,
K Barbecue.
Yeah, it's like all you can eat option, and they've got hot pot and Korean barbecue at the table, and really good.
Yeah, is that the newest one that just
the one over there on Memorial, right?
Yeah, and
I just haven't gone yet. I've driven by. I really like K Barbecue.
Yeah, there's a really good pho restaurant over there too, in that shopping center behind where Toys R Us. I think it's Ollie's now.
Oh, really?
I can't remember what the name of it is now, but man, it's a good little pho restaurant in that back alley. But I think that's another thing too. I don't think Tulsans, or maybe like it's just kind of hard to know where these gyms are. Because we have restaurants in really obscure places like shopping malls.
But can I ask a question that might be controversial for y'all?
Okay.
What's the best barbecue restaurant here? Like,
oh, that's definitely controversial.
Yeah, I've got 2 favorites. Max out in Skytuck.
Okay.
Super good.
Max, yeah.
And Killer Will that pops up at Heirloom on the weekend.
Yeah.
Super good brisket. Does like an awesome smoked beef rib.
Ooh.
You gotta get it.
Oh,
Super good.
With that.
All the sides are really killer. They've got like a curry baked beans and really good potato salad. And
you say curry baked beans?
Yeah.
Curry baked beans.
Super good.
Yeah.
Say less.
My favorite barbecue place. Oh man, I'm trying to make sure I answer correctly. Let me say my favorite place closed, which was Reba Dale's Barbecue, and they had what was called the potato. And there's other potatoes in Tulsa that are good. Like Rubicon has a good one. But Reba Dale's had a potato that, like, when I was in high school, early years in college, I will tell you now, if you posted a picture on Instagram of your Reba Dale's potato, people were like, yo, how come you didn't invite me to come with you? Like, that's how crucial the Reba Dale potato was, especially for, like, people who are alums of Booker T, like, 10 years ago, or if you just lived in North Tulsa, Reba Dale's was the spot to go to. Now, currently, if I was to get barbecue, oh man, you know, it's bad to say. I think like my favorite barbecue is when you go to someone's cookout more than like buying actual barbecue. I think I'm more interested in that because, you know, we go to a restaurant, it's the same kind of recipe for their barbecue all the time. And for me, I enjoy it like, you know, especially in the summer when they do like Friday night cookouts and people might be selling barbecue plates. And I grew up in rodeo culture. So you go to the rodeo, someone has a smoker. So I'm more into like the people who make it at home, I think, more than like an actual barbecue restaurant.
Chaz, we finna hang out more, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
you know what's crazy? Your family's been to my whole house to ride horses.
I know.
And they left you.
I was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll see
I might
each
have
other.
fallen off the horse, though.
Let's go to Tina's. Yeah, we'll go to Tina's.
And I will say, I just remembered another iconic Tulsa restaurant, White River Fish Market.
Oh, yeah.
I've
White
been going
River
there
for sure. That's iconic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an iconic spot for sure. Yeah, you can't. You know, I do miss RIP Spaghetti Warehouse.
I never went.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
that
man.
name.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So I don't know if they. I think it was a chain, but I'm not sure. I think they had them in OKC. But the one we had a trolley inside of it, and it looks like it's an Italian restaurant, of course, but it looked over Italian. You know what I mean? Like the unnecessary huge Italian flags everywhere, and it had the chefs with the mustaches, like the Bouyardi mustaches. Like it was so camp as far as a restaurant decorations go. Yeah. And the food was great, but it was just kind of you walked in and you're like, is this a restaurant or am I an attraction at Branson's? You know, it's such a weird spot, but I loved it. I would say that. And then some other good restaurants like Wanda J's I really enjoyed. We talked about burgers earlier, so the Freeze is definitely one of my favorite burgers. Tina's is one of my favorite burgers. I am curious to this too, and as far as restaurants, and we only got one more question left after this one. As far as being chefs, do you all feel as if major chain restaurants, including fast foods, are starting to move towards using more I want to say independent chefs or tapping into the chef world for more fun foods? Oh, okay.
I say absolutely not.
That's interesting.
It's harder to control costs. I think the thing I love about major chains is that it's consistently average, so I know what to expect.
Okay.
But fun stuff, I mean, they do some stuff that's kind of fun most of the time. Like, hey, we have a new menu out, but their first question is costing. And how simple is this recipe so that my cooks, because they're not necessarily employing chefs, so that my cooks around the country, and no offense to cooks, can execute this. That's more of what they're asking.
Okay.
Yeah, consistency is really important when it comes to corporate.
Yeah.
Anything, yeah.
And see, that interests me because, I think lately, especially Taco Bell, McDonald's, even Red Lobster, they got a new CEO. And one of the things they always talk about is let's change our menu. And they always have a chef who's this is part of how we're doing our cantina menu was Taco Bell's. And I remember they had almost a press conference for the new chef of Taco Bell's menu. And I always thought do restaurants care about what chefs think about, or do they just care about the profit line?
No, that's profit line. Listen, you and me, if we were to go let's just do burgers, right?
Yeah.
We're going to go look for great meat. That's going to be the base of our burger. Corporations, no offense to anybody, I don't know if we got any sponsors. If we do, just edit this whole response out. But they will go to a purveyor and they're going to order a formulation. And they are not necessarily going with the highest quality formulation because it's the cost. McDonald's is notorious for using lowest cost formulation patties, beef, right? It's a thing because it's about cost. As a chef, our question is, how do I make the best burger? And the simple answer is, start with some good meat. That is not how corporations start their process at all, period. Yeah. Oh.
Do you ever feel, Casey, for you, when it comes to cooking or anything like that at Tina's, do you get an input as a chef or a cook to say hey, can we add this part to ingredients or anything like that? Do you feel you get that kind of free? I'm not saying specifically Tina's. Don't want to put you in any predicament. I want you to have a job after this.
Right.
But I am curious, and for you as well, people who work in restaurants, do you all get to have a say in stuff like that, or do menu creation stuff like that? I know bartenders do.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been given some creative freedom in places I've been before, but I've also been limited in previous, not where I'm at now, but just due to cost. And I would run a Italian Sunday special at a certain restaurant in downtown. And I loved changing the menu every week when we did it. It was just very exciting for me. And eventually they were we're just going to do chicken parm because of just,
it's just expensive.
Doing different products, even though I was cautious of what I was getting, just changing things up and, that kind of thing.
Right.
It's just, it's hard to track costs, the P&L and everything like that with those kind of
Okay, what is this
ideas.
P&L? This isn't my final question, but y'all, this is
versus loss.
Yep.
Oh, PVL. Oh,
P&L, yeah, profit and loss statement.
Yeah.
Okay.
The margins in restaurants are so thin. They tell you that you should be running a 30 to 35% margin if you want to be successful, and that is nearly impossible in the current restaurant structure, especially without alcohol. So what happens is you're razor thin. Most restaurants are running 20 to 25%, and that is just too low because none of our prices are fixed. It's variable pricing. The pandemic showed us that, like where you had the cost of eggs double on you in a week, we still have eggs on our menu. We can't double the price. And you talk about things like, so P&L for corporate and even for independents, it is very important, which is why I always caution certain chefs about jumping into a brick and mortar, because then it changes what you have to focus on just simply to survive.
Yeah. Okay.
And the stress of paying your people is crazy. So, sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah. Okay, so this is going to be our last question. Like I said, I like to end things we've had fun in this conversation. We've had some giggles, some ha-ha, some hee-hees. I want to end this kind of on a fun question. I know you all don't like the question of what's your favorite thing to cook. So I kind of want to see if this is a little bit of a humbling moment. What's the worst meal you've ever messed up?
Ooh.
I'll tell you all, when I was 5, I tried to reheat some leftovers. And my mom had gold bowls. And I put a gold bowl in the microwave. And I blew up our microwave. And I almost didn't get a 6th birthday party.
Whoa.
So there's my honesty. This is an honest, safe space.
I messed up. No, I'm being like,
I figure it comes with the job.
Have you ever burned like a pot of something? Like I scorched potatoes, and I was supposed to be doing a shepherd's pie, and the potatoes tasted so burnt.
Oh yeah.
And it was and like we had to put it out, and I wanted to cry every time I looked at someone's face, and it was
oh,
bad.
You had to serve it.
We had no time to make it again. We're just like, okay, add some sugar to it, like do anything. Like there was just nothing. It was bad. This was a long time ago, and that was not my highest moment.
Wow.
Mine's from childhood too. I don't know what your grandma was like, but we would always leave my grandma's house with like groceries.
Yeah.
Like all kinds of stuff. And she'd given us like flour containers. And what I thought was flour was actually powdered sugar. And I whipped up some banana bread. Super excited for some banana bread.
Oh no.
And just look into the oven, to check on it. And it's just melted sludge.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you all so much.
Tell me that was in a pan.
Yeah, like a loaf pan.
Okay,
yeah.
because if you would have had to clean that off the oven.
Well, I appreciate you all for your honesty, your humility. This has been an amazing episode. Thank you all so much. I think kind of upset we filmed this so late because now I'm hungry. If we had one of those late night cook things, we'd be okay. But here we are. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. Again, my name is Chaz Thunderwolf Stevens. These were our guests, Chef Chad Cherry and Chef Casey Tarochine. I'm really appreciative of Create Tulsa for having us. Thank you again for the Racks Tulsa for hosting this. And this has been Misconnections.